Okay, I want to re-record this because of the fact that I've got a speech-related problem and that sometimes my thought process gets reversed and backwards at times. So, take three. Let's see. Oh man. All right, this is a Facebook math problem that came across my own desk, and so let's see that we can copy this over to a piece of paper. Now, because of the kinds of math problems that I've encountered over the years on Facebook, and by the way, this I saved this little thing, and I don't have problems in notifying you. I'm gonna re-implement my AdGuard DNS server in order to block that communication, block the ability for the global identity, device identifier to communicate with, you know, and everything. It will disrupt its communications, and so that will the machine from narking on me. Anyways, so PEMDAS. Um, Now I used to be a booster and a supporter of the PEMDAS thing, but I think that I have a bit of an issue with respects to the way that people memnotics are useful, but only to a degree, basically, and they can become problematic when people drop details that are attached to those memnotics and everything. So one thing that I wanted to show you, with respects to all this, I had to do it this way because um I'm a bit of a technically skilled person, and so I know about the browser console and everything, and um, web developer tools. Okay, it's not unknown, to me, and so let's open up the console and um, I, I didn't expect to have a problem, with it being folded up and tiny. Like, what the hell? Okay, well. The console. Okay. So now I can put and communicate and make communications between me and Google, but I don't want to. I want this to work properly. So google.com and calculator. Okay, why is that so tiny? What's going on there? Uh, okay. Now, with respects to that Facebook math problem, having Google answer it for us should really. What the hell? I'm having tech issues. This is such a fucking no. Clear. God damn it. 100 minus 40 by 2, and then plus 10. And now, let's get it to output this. Now, if I pull up my console and everything, you can see that nothing's really changed because I haven't sent it any commands or anything, and so I'm not hacking or, messing with the locally stored variables on my system and everything, and it's still outputting this. And so, when it comes to PEMDAS, I think that it makes more sense to communicate it as PE and then within parentheses MD and then within parentheses AS. Now, what upsets me, but I'm also amused at how confidently wrong so many people are about it, is that there's something known as the order of operations when it comes to mathematics, and it's with respect to PEMDAS and everything. But one of the things that acronym causes confusion wise is that it makes the users think that essentially multiplication takes precedence over division, but that is not the case. They're of equal priority, which is the phrasing that I use but you prefer to use, but it's also precedence. They're of equal precedence is also another way to put that. And addition and subtraction are also of equal precedence. And then if they're you also have to pay attention to the order the equation is arranged in, such that if addition comes first, you do addition first. If subtraction comes first, you do subtraction first. That's how it's supposed to be done and everything. That is the order of operations in total, and that a lot of that additional information is needed for people to understand this one properly in the way that mathematicians in mainstream mathematics understand it and everything. So the first thing that we do is we divide the 40 by 2 and everything, leaving us with 20, and so you would rewrite the equation as minus 20 plus 10. Now, if you misunderstand PEMDAS, if you think that addition has precedence over subtraction, then you would start with adding 20, 20 and 10, but that's not the case. That's not how PEMDAS actually works. And so the first thing you do is you subtract 20 from, and so you rewrite the equation yet again, 80 plus 10, and now when we do that, we're left with 90 as our products, right? And that's the order of operations in truth, because addition and subtraction are of equal precedence. And then in the left-right orientation, depending on which one comes first, from left to right, that you do that one first. All right, that's the way that mathematicians actually work on this equation and everything. So I hope that this is properly communicated at this point. I misspoke last time and everything, and I noticed it, and that was just unacceptable to me, and so I decided to do this video a third time. Have a nice day and everything. And yeah, PEMDAS is problematic, I guess, because it produces problems like this. You forget that multiplication and division are of equal precedence, and addition and subtraction are of equal precedence. So what you think is when it produces misunderstandings like this, and these kinds of misunderstandings need to be vanquished. Anyways, you know, I would strongly stress, with all this, like I said, memnotics are only useful to a degree, and when that up and everything, and you're gonna get the wrong answer and arrive at it. This post is confidently wrong. It is in fact 90. I don't know what their intentions were, if they were rage baiting or what, but it is actually 90. Now, I don't have an addiction to correcting people. I don't really care all that much, but I am trying to be helpful here about all this.